Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group, Trump nominates former transportation CIO Ryan Cote to lead IT at the VA. And DOD is creating a joint interagency counter-drone task force. It's Thursday, July 3rd, 2025. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Just as a quick note, tomorrow is the 4th of July and we'll be off. I hope you have a safe and wonderful holiday. Now let's dive into the day's top headlines. President Donald Trump on Tuesday submitted a nomination for Ryan Cote to serve as Assistant Secretary of Information and Technology and CIO at the Department of Veterans Affairs. If confirmed by Senate vote, it would be Cote's second run as a CIO under Trump. He served in the IT chief role at the Department of Transportation during the first Trump administration. Cote started his career as a U.S. Marine, but went on to hold jobs in technology at firms like HP, Northrop Grumman, Gartner, and IBM, before he entered federal service the first time in 2019 at Transportation. Since leaving government at the end of Trump's first term, Cote has served as a board advisor for a company called Nubeva, and as a so-called private global CIO, according to his LinkedIn profile. The VA has been without a Senate-confirmed CIO since the Trump administration took office. Kurt Delbene held the role during the previous administration. Eddie Poole, the agency's deputy CIO for connectivity and collaboration services, has been serving as the acting CIO. The VA CIO role is the only one apart from the Department of Defense in the federal government that requires Senate approval. The position manages a budget of more than $7 billion in an organization of some 16,000 federal employees and contractors. In other news, the Department of Defense is standing up a joint interagency task force to tackle drone threats, according to a senior officer. General James Mingus, Vice Chief of Staff for the Army, said during an event Wednesday co-hosted by AUSA and the Center for Strategic and International Studies that, quote, "We recently did a session with the Secretary of Defense and we're going to stand up a joint interagency task force focused on thwarting drones. Counter Unmanned Aerial Systems, or CUAS, as it's known in DOD parlance, is a key challenge for the military. Commercial technology has evolved in recent years such that drones on the civilian market are extremely cheap to buy and simple to operate. It has also become less challenging to 3D print parts and devices that can fly. This has made it significantly easier for nation states and terrorist groups to procure these types of systems and strap bombs to them, allowing adversaries to level the playing field against higher-tech combatants, such as the U.S. military. The CUAS challenge has existed for about a decade as insurgent groups in the Middle East began acquiring these systems and targeting American troops, marking the first time since the Vietnam War that U.S. service members didn't have full control of the skies and faced an aerial threat on the ground. The Azerbaijan-Armenia conflict a few years ago was also a global watershed, serving as one of the first instances where drones helped win a war. Similarly, the Houthis, a group backed by Iran that has controlled portions of Yemen, including the capital since 2014, have been executing a multi-year on and off again onslaught against commercial and military ships transiting the Red Sea as a protest against Western support for Israel's war in Gaza against Hamas. While most of those drones were neutralized, the U.S. military is losing the cost curve battle by using million-dollar missiles to defeat large numbers of inexpensive UAS. General Mingus equated the CUAS challenge today to the effort to counter improvised explosive devices throughout the global war on terror. Insurgents began fighting U.S. troops in Afghanistan and Iraq with remotely controlled roadside bombs to great effect, catalyzing a joint and interagency effort by the United States called the Joint Improvised Threat Defeat Organization. The nation also mobilized with great speed to produce mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles, which saved countless lives. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, make sure to visit fedscoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. Again, we're off tomorrow, but we'll be back next week with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.